Hello, everyone. This is Overcomer One Studios. Welcome to my podcast, My Truth Podcast, and my name is Christopher Hicks. Hope all is well. So I just want to take a few moments to talk to you about something that I was thinking of I was thinking about a few days ago, and I wasn't sure if I was going to share it with you, but and that's because I was going to share it, but I guess I was trying to fix it up and figure out a good way how to present it. But I'm just going to come out with it. So there was a song written by a gospel singer, one of the great gospel singers of the Winans family, B.B. Winans. I don't remember the title to the song, but there was a line in the song that there was a verse in the song that always used to get me, like grip my heart, almost bring me to tears. And the verse said, "All I wanted was to be loved. No one, no one deserves to be alone." And every time I would hear that, I would be like, man, it would bring me almost to tears. And I think the reason why is because it always reflected my mind back to how I was treated. You guys know my story. You know that this podcast, my True Podcast, is mainly I just discuss mental health and my story on mental health. We talk about depression, PTSD, anxiety, and so forth. And just to give you a disclaimer, the information I'm sharing with you is my experience. And I want to share with you, and hopefully it will encourage someone and help those that are, struggling with mental health. And who may not? You just may want to just get another person's perspective. So the information I give you is I don't, always consult with your therapists and counselors and doctors. Again, it's just my experience. So I'm not a licensed therapist or a licensed counselor, but I do work in the field. So I thought about that line, that verse, because it reminded me of when the first home adoption, the first couple that adopted me, the home I was in. I mean, you know my story about the abuse and so forth. If you haven't heard my story, you can always go back to my previous podcasts, and you will hear my story. I kind of go in depth about the things that I went through, but the mental and physical abuse was the main thing. So I remember when this had to be about 1979 or 80. I was held by the school. We took buses to and fro. They dropped us off and so forth, and picked us up from school. And for this particular day, I didn't get on that bus. The staff members, which include the teachers, principals, vice principals, and so forth, and there were child service workers and therapists and counselors. They all decided that I need to stay at the school. And it was weird because it was dark and I knew it was late, and I was so nervous and scared because I thought I was going to get in trouble or something I did wrong. Apparently they found out they had been documenting the abuse for us, wow. And I guess they had said enough is enough. And so they had called my adopted mom at the time to come. I don't know what they wanted her to do, but they had summoned her to come to the school, and I guess to confirm or deny the abuse or whatever. So she came up to the school. She looked crazy and disheveled, and I remember being so afraid, like she was coming to attack me. And I was hiding behind all the teachers and everything that were there, therapists. And I remember she made this one statement. Out of everything that went along that day, I don't remember anything else but the one statement that she made. And I think she made a statement. She said, "You can keep them, or you can have them," or something like that. I was glad she made that statement. I was more relieved because I knew I wasn't going back to that hell house. But also I was afraid because I didn't know what was in store for me next. And long story short, and I do in my book, Hope, in my book that I've written on I've discussed about the book. I kind of go into detail what happened. Um, I share some of the events, but I was again, I didn't know what was in store when this happened, but I was also again afraid, and and that from there I never went back to that home. I went to other adoption homes until I found a permanent residence. So they found a permanent residence for me, which was not that long. It was maybe like a few weeks or maybe a month or something like that. But that statement hurt me. It crushed me more than I think what I'd ever been through. Because when she made that statement, I felt like trash. I felt like dirt, and that stuck with me until this day. And that would be a good example of me, or a person that suffers of abandonment issues, being neglected, being rejected, especially at the age I was. I had to be about 8 or 9 when this happened. No, I think I was about 11 and 12, and that's pretty young for a child to experience something like that. And listen, I know there are probably children younger than me that younger than I was at the time, that experienced abandonment by an adult. And abandonment is not just an adult. In children, it can be in adult relationships. It can be as an adult, just as an adult, whether you're in relationships, family, whatever. It's crucial when it hurts, and it can affect you for the rest of your life. And PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder, in some, not saying I know for me, has a correlation. There's some relation to that, because both have impacted my life on a daily basis, whether it's activities or stress levels. These abandonment is also trauma. Can cause mood swings, debilitating anxiety, and so forth, and chronic depression, and decreased self-esteem. And self-esteem, it really just shot my self-esteem, man. At that age, that was almost, her saying that was like solidified abandonment. It was like it just gave me the title. It was like almost gave me a badge of dishonor instead of honor. And I wrestled with that, man, because I assumed that because she had to come up to the school out of her comfort zone or disrupt her schedule or whatever, and I caused this ruckus that was going on. I caused all these people, these officials, to be standing around making these decisions. I assumed it was my fault, and it was hard for me for years to get over that. And more than her verbally making that statement, it was more emotional. It was emotional abandonment. And that's a subjective emotional state in which people feel undesired, left behind, insecure, discarded. You feel a sense of loss. You feel like you've been cut off. And it's also a crucial source of sustenance, or feel withdrawn. And it can cause emotional erosion. And so that really, again, that was a major wound. That was my issue. I mean, I don't know what yours could be. Everyone's experience with abandonment or having abandonment issues is not relegated to abuse. It may not be. It could be a loss of experience, a loss. Maybe you were connected to someone, you had a good relationship, you could have been married, and that person passed away, or they moved on with their life, started a new relationship. Maybe they committed adultery, or was in an affair, or had an affair, or really, just decided to move on, and they kind of left you hanging or standing there, and you're trying to figure out, what did I do? But I'm gonna tell you, it's not what you did It's not your fault. It's what they did. They decided to make that judgment. They made that decision, and you just happen to be involved because you were in their lives. And so I had to realize that over years, it wasn't my fault. None of it. And one thing is, abandonment can create a sense of insecurity, whereas you feel that the world isn't safe, people are dependable, and can cause a anticipated fear of abandonment or rejection and betrayal in your adult relationships. So I always felt, even when I got married, I always felt my wife was going to leave me. I wasn't good enough, and I felt that every mistake that was made in the relationship was my fault. Whether it could be anything, whether a bill wasn't paid properly, or we fell behind in rent, or I'm talking about past, we fell behind economically, or something was not, anything. Or something happened to the kids. I took it upon myself like it was my fault, and that's what happens to a person that has suffered serious abandonment issues. You blame yourself for everything, and you feel other people are better than you. They're greater than you. You feel that they have better qualities, and it really stumped my growth in just pursuing a lot of things that I want to go out for as my career. I stayed complacent in, for example, career. I stayed complacent or safe in jobs or careers that I felt that was suitable for me, and I know I knew I had better potential. So I'd be in jobs, and no disrespect to people around me, but I wasn't working in careers where people didn't really care. They came to work. The morale wasn't really there. People was just getting a paycheck, or the coworkers were complaining, or they didn't require a lot of skill level, and I felt comfortable because I felt I could excel in those areas because I felt that's any other career that I want to pursue or go. There are other people that are much better in those areas than me, and so that was all erroneous thinking on my part. And again, because I was programmed to think that way because somebody else dropped the ball, it wasn't me. So one thing about abandonment issues, it causes low self-esteem, and it causes you to try to be a people pleaser. And it's a beast, man. It's a beast. I don't have the answers on how, if you suffer from abandonment issues, on how to overcome. But I can tell you, for me, what has helped me is being in a relationship with someone such as my wife that listened and that understand and felt my pain. She empathized with me, my pain, and she understood. She didn't try to give me the answers because she wasn't there. So how could she give me an answer for something she wasn't even aware of? She didn't know she wasn't there. Stop it. So I'm talking to my dog. And close friends and relatives, being able to talk to them about my experience. And I had to also learn to trust. I had to let my guard down and realize, quiet, come here, stop it. My dog again. Every time I get on this, he starts. It's all right. So learning to trust other people, learning to be vulnerable. Sorry, come here. Especially as men, we don't want to be vulnerable. We don't want to talk about the hurt and pain that we deal with, especially when it talks about being emotionally, being abused or emotional issues or things that you have to go through as a male, because in society you're supposed to be strong. You're not supposed to cry. You hide your feelings, and that's just crazy. That's just crazy because we're all human, and you're gonna have to come to grips with that pain one way or another. And you may think I can try to solve it by other means, could be through substance abuse, could be through sex, it could be through doing to try, whatever that could be unhealthy means to try to cover that pain and hurt. But honestly, therapy and close friends and people that understood, not everybody, because not everybody understands, but for me, that's what helped me. And then again, like I said, when you get the frame, all right, letting my guard down, trusting people, because I had built this callus of mistrust, because everybody had failed me up until, the age of 12, and then even afterwards. So it took me a long time to trust, to be vulnerable. But and then the insecurity, I deal with that. You know, one way that I deal with the insecurities stuff is by really looking at what I have accomplished. And everybody is not like Chris. We're not all the same people. You can do something better. You may have a skill that can do something better than I can. I may have a skill that I can, do something better than you can. But the bottom line is we all make a contribution to society and to keep the world going spinning, keep it moving. Not spinning, but you know what I mean. So having self-confidence, building my self-confidence was something I've been working on. And again, you can't blame yourself for someone else's decision of abandonment with you. That was their choice. It's not your fault. That doesn't measure how good of a person you are, or try to. I guess I want to say, actually, that doesn't measure your status in life and where you dropped the ball. No, that's all erroneous. That's all crazy. You, whoever you are, and again, I had to realize that I had to look in the mirror. I had to praise myself for the accomplishments that I've made, and I had to fight my own demons of abandonment by understanding, going all the way back to that childhood and saying that was not, again, I'm being redundant, but it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault at all. And me, I know I would never do anyone like that. And so that's not even in my genetic makeup. So yeah, I just want to spend a little time to talk to you on that. Abandonment is a powerful thing, but it's not the end of the road. You can get over it. You can excel, and that person who abandoned you, whether it was from a child, whether you were in a relationship, whether it was a loss of a loved one through death, or they just decide to move on, just remember it's not your fault, man. Always remember it's not your fault, and you're just as important to this world, on this planet, as anyone else, because you were created on purpose for specific and designed. There's nobody like you or me, and we have to forgive ourselves for thinking that it was our fault, first of all, and then we also have to acknowledge the person who did it to us and say that was on them, wasn't me. Not that you place the blame, but again, like I told you in that song, all I ever wanted was to be loved. No one deserves to be alone, and neither are, I was gonna say, we all deserve love. We all deserve it, and we were not placed on this planet to be an island unto ourselves, or to be all one. God, always have someone or somebody in your life that's supportive to you, and they understand. So keep moving on, man. Keep pushing, and don't let abandonment steer you away from your goals in life and what you want to accomplish. Please don't allow it. And listen, if it's affecting you to the point where it's hard for you to get out of bed, or where you can't function on a daily basis to do, or work or school, whatever, please get some help. Go to therapy, get some counseling, and it's all about you, man. It's all about you. So peace. Stay encouraged.